channel. My name is Miguel Perez, and today we're going to talk about the mistakes that I made when learning fighting games. Transitioning from one genre to another, it's going to come with its fair share of challenges. But as long as you work hard and as long as you are committed, you can get very far. I highly recommend that you check out the fighting game genre if you haven't done so already. Right now, it is the best time to get into the fighting game genre, especially since we are getting so many awesome games. We got so many awesome games this year, and we're gonna get some more in the future. But be wary, you are gonna make some mistakes. I thought it would be a good idea to share with you guys some of the mistakes that I ended up making so that you can learn from these as well. And before we get started, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel and turn on those post notifications so that you never miss out on a video or a live stream. And with that being said, let's get started. The first mistake that I ended up making is refusing to learn the Numberpad notation. Chances are, when you look up at a guide for a character that you want to play as, they're not going to have the directional inputs. Instead, what you're going to see is something that kind of looks like a math formula. One of the things that I regret doing is not learning the Numberpad inputs when I should have. I learned that later on down the line. The first thing that I should have done was look up how to read it as well as how to utilize it. Here's a quick little freebie. Chances are, one of the most basic moves that you can do with any character, it's going to be labeled as 5A. This does not mean push your A button 5 times. I made that mistake a lot. Honestly, it's kind of embarrassing, but you might as well hear this from me. So what 5A means, it doesn't mean push your A button 5 times. This just means push your light attack button once. Another notation that you're gonna see is 2-3-6. What 2-3-6 means, it just means down, down, forward, and then forward. You're literally just doing a quarter circle motion on the D-pad. Now, this is gonna take some time to get used to, but to make things a little bit easier, here is a image better explaining the Numberpad notation. Take a screenshot, do whatever you need to, but the point is keep this next to you because it's going to make learning the Numberpad notation a lot easier. The second mistake that I ended up making was prioritizing my combos instead of my neutral game plan. I know it is very tempting to just hop into the game, start learning your combos as fast as possible, and then trying them out. But chances are, if you do this, you're going to end up losing almost all of your games. The reason for this is because even though it is important to learn how to combo, that is not as important as it is to prioritize your neutral game plan. What the neutral stage is, it's pretty much when both players are literally at a standoff and barely anything is happening. Believe it or not, this is the most important stage because if you were to engage and if your opponent were to engage, or in this case disengage, you need to know exactly what to do in order to get the advantage. That is a massive oversimplification, but as long as you get the idea, that's what matters. I wish I could do a better job of explaining it, but the reality is there are a lot of creators that have already created amazing guides when it comes to neutral, so definitely do your homework, and I can promise you that this is gonna carry you a long way. The third mistake that I ended up making, which realistically speaking, I really shouldn't have, especially since I've done this in the shooter genre, that is not to warm up before you play. Just like if you were to go to a gym, you don't just go without first warming up your body. The same thing can be said when it comes to fighting games. You don't just hop into a game and expect to do amazing. Practice your bread and butter combos, practice your fundamentals. If you practice your fundamentals before you hop into a game, you are going to improve a lot faster. Going back to the controller, the fourth mistake that I ended up making was using my analog stick instead of using my D-pad. I'm sure literally everybody that has ever played on a controller has been there, but they see the directional inputs and they think, oh my god, I gotta use the analog stick in order to get it down. Nope, that is not true. The reason why you never want to use the analog stick compared to the D-pad, fighting games are not coded with 360-degree movement, which is what the analog stick uses. They are coded using a 9-directional movement. This also ties into the Numberpad notation. You're only gonna move 9 different directions. Do not use the analog stick. I know it is very tempting. Instead, what you wanna do is learn how to use the D-pad. The last thing on the list, well, it isn't a mistake that I made, it's a mistake that I almost made. And that is buying an arcade stick or a hitbox. This doesn't mean that using these items is a mistake. Even though I have played fighting games in an arcade setting before, the reality is I didn't spend most of my time playing fighting games on an arcade stick. I spent most of my time playing them on a controller. This doesn't go for everybody. Everybody has their preference, but the best advice that I can give you is to just try out these items before you decide to make a commitment. I have been very fortunate enough to have met people that have let me borrow their peripherals just to try them out to see if I like them. I always played a lot better with a controller, so I've just stuck with a controller. If you have the ability to do so, try it before you buy it. The best controller that you can use is the one that you can play the most comfortable with. Anyways, that's going to be it for this week's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to follow me on social media at it's Miguel_Perez. Links for everything will be down in the description box below. And with that being said, this is San Diego Shooting Star signing out.